Hi beautiful people, you're welcome back to my channel. Just in case you're stopping on this channel for the first time, my name is Joyful Shumefun. Lovely to meet you. Okay, so guys, I'm going to be talking about something really interesting today. A little bit controversial, broad, but I'm going to wrap it up in a nutshell. Yes. What I'm talking about today basically is growing up in a religious African household. You know, I'm not a counselor or anything, but I'm just going to be talking based on some of my experiences and experiences of other people that I knew and I know. Okay, so first of all, there are so many things you face as a child growing up in a religious household. Okay, I for one, I grew up in a deeper life Christian household. If you are familiar with that Christian denomination, or maybe if you're African and you've heard about that Christian denomination, then you know what I'm talking about. You know that my parents were really strict, right? We're not allowed to do a lot of things when we're growing up. We're not allowed to wear trousers because it was believed to be for like clothing for men. We're not allowed to do a lot of things, makeup, earrings. I didn't even have piercing in my ear.
Are you
Yes,
sure?
guys, I didn't have that. I got it at some point in my life. I know some of you will be like, ha, so you don't wear trousers. Hey, so you were not allowed to wear makeup. Those things were not allowed when I was growing up. And we're not allowed to do birthdays, watch TV, even though nowadays some of those things have greatly reduced. Yes, people, you don't even have to have a television to access so many things. With your smartphone, you can watch what is happening in America or in any other part of the world. So a lot of those things have been relaxed. But during my day when I was growing up, it was really difficult. Like at first, you know, as a child, you won't really mind all those things. You won't really know the difference. But as you go out, you grow older, you mingle with other people, you start seeing things that they're doing that's different from what you're doing. Like they have TV in their houses, so why don't we have TV at home? These people can wear trousers, they celebrate birthdays, so why don't we do the same? Like, you just start to be curious about things generally. And as you grow up also, you realize that there are some of these things that you become interested in and that you want to do, but you are not allowed to do them. Not because they are bad, right? It's not because they are bad, or because your parents just don't believe that they are the right things you should be doing. And today when I tell people that my parents are deeper life, they still like, eh?
Is that how you were?
Like really? Like it's like I'm a stark contrast to where I'm coming from. But the danger in some of those things, involves a lot of isolation. Yes, because your parents don't want you to interact a lot with other people that do not believe in the same thing. Like somebody that's not a Christian, or they just behave in a way that's completely different from what your parents are used to. They're not going to be mingling with those kind of people, right? It's not going to be allowed. And even when we had telephone at home, there's an extension in my mom's room. So if anybody calls you and that person is a boy, hey, you're in trouble. Or if your friend calls you have to be mindful of the kind of conversation that you're having because somebody is listening at the other end. Is that crazy? Other things that happens, you don't do a lot. Our itinerary for the day is basically school, come back home. If there's service that day, church, come back home. So our life just revolved around going to school, church, and home. There was really nothing much going on. If not for the fact that we had to go to school, we would probably have no other kind of social interaction with other people. You understand? And we're not really allowed to like go visiting people like that. Like I'll just say, okay, mommy, I want to go see my friend. It will not be allowed. Even if it will be allowed, it has to be somebody, maybe a friend of mine from church, somebody my mom really knows and has seen. And even at that safe, it's still not really allowed. A lot of social activities are not allowed. Like I remember when I wanted to play basketball, my mom at some point, she just decided, you can't be doing that anymore. A lot of things are not allowed. And that just keeps the child bottled up. like you are just there. And then, especially for a child that is of secondary school age, now you're mingling with people in school, you're seeing things, you're seeing how other people are doing things, what they are getting involved in, and you're curious and wondering, why can't you do these things? You know? So that isolation is not good, because it increases their curiosity. It makes them want to like break out, like, just be free. They want to, experience what is going on out there. Now I understand the fear for parents to want to keep their children a little bit isolated, because, they don't want them getting involved with bad people or getting in trouble. Yes, that is a valid concern, but that is why you have to be like really watch out for where your kids go to, or who they're hanging out with. Like, pay more attention to that, but instead of not just cutting them off completely, that will affect them in the long run. Like, eventually when they get into a higher institution, they'll find it hard blending in, making friends, and then they are very, very gullible because they don't know about a lot of things. They are not, should I say, street smart, So things like that can be really, really dangerous for your children. Also, tunnel vision. When all you do is just go to church, go to school, come back home, and everything you see and hear is just about a particular thing all the time. Like I said, I was not opportune to have television. The only time that I can say we had like TV, or there was this radio that my dad bought, had this 4-inch by 4-inch screen screen on it, and we tried to put it on. It came on black and white, and it was very small. Sometimes you can catch signal and see one or two things happening. So those were the only times that we could really see anything that is remotely close to a television. But other than that, the only thing is just church, the word of God, coming back home, and then nothing. Even on Christmas, we don't really do much. New Year, we don't do much. Christmas, we actually have to be in a church program, a retreat somewhere away from home with other members of the church gathered in one big place and things like that. So it creates tunnel vision for that child. And the danger of that tunnel vision is just believing that, okay, the world is just only about what you just see all the time. It can be really dangerous. And the way it's drilled into us that your religion is the best, is the only way. Other religions, they are not the way to heaven and things like that. It can create a bias, right? It can make you be judgmental of other people. It can make you be like not accepting of other people. And it's dangerous, because that is what brings about the problem we have in the world today. Supremacy in beliefs, supremacy in religions, even amongst Christians. You find that some people prefer a particular denomination to the other, which is okay. But then, don't look down on the other one that, now we be the correct people where they go heaven. Nah, people are doing the wrong thing. And even if you believe that, you can still accommodate people. But if you are raised with that tunnel vision of your own way of life is the best, is the only way, it creates that bias, that it makes you unaccepting of other people's beliefs and religion, and that can definitely be very dangerous. Yes, another thing I want to talk about, growing up in a strictly religious African household. Another thing I want to talk about is it breeds dual personalities in children. Yes, what do I mean? Like, when you're growing up in such an environment, your parents expect you to do everything they say. As an African child, you already know that once your parents, what they say is law. Like, if they say don't do this, you have no choice. You can't even ask questions like, okay, mommy, why should I not do this? You can't challenge it. So most of the times we will go to church, even though you don't feel like going to church. Most of the time, if you will not even hear what they are saying, because your mind is not really there. But you have to do it anyway. Like, abide by their rules and regulation 100%. Is that possible? It's not, because as children, okay, like for example, let me use myself as an example. There was a time that I wanted to attend a party. Of course, I knew that my parents were not going to readily say I was going to a party. And that party safe is actually my elder sister's party. But my elder sister was a bit strong-headed when we were growing up. So I was the kind of calm one. So she pushed me forward, like, yeah, yeah, go and tell mommy that we're going for your best friend's party. Because I remember back then, for me to be able to convince my mom that I want to go somewhere, it has to be my best friend. And she knows my best friend, even like, just come up with things that will just try and make them accept. And when we're going for those parties, we usually change into trousers, and that's something definitely my parents would not approve. So we'll get some halfway, change into trousers because, of course, that was the open thing to do there now, and our way of life does not correlate with that, right? When we're coming back home, we'll change back. All those kind of things that you will normally not do in front of your parents. In front of your parents, you will be, you arrange, you will correspond to everything, you will just follow the rules and regulation, but behind their back, you are a totally different person. And that means that your parents don't really know who you are most of the time, because you're trying to play to their gallery, you're trying to do everything as they want so that there won't be problems. I can even remember vividly my elder sister always making jokes of, after we're all grown and talking about all these things, looking back at our childhood, she will say that there are times she was in the university, she will, of course, be dressed in trousers, and her friend will cite my mom from afar. Like, then there was no phone to call that you're coming. You already know where your child stays, so you just go. And she will run like a mad person, change back, carry out the trousers, hide it somewhere. I mean, that is what it breeds. When you are too strict with your child, that is just what you're going to get. You're not really going to get the true personality of that child. There are some people that their children do things outside, and when they tell them at home that, this is your child, and they're like, no, they can't believe it. I know some adults today that grew up in this kind of setup that I grew up in, a very strict home. Some of them not even necessarily religious, but their parents were really strict. Because these things, they are like hand in hand. The only difference is religion is now part of it, which can make it either worse or not, right? But some people, they raise their children in a military type situation, just choke them in, isolate them from the world, expect the best of their best. It's not bad to expect things from your children, but I think that the expectations that parents, especially parents that are very religious, are very strict, and everything must be by the book, the expectations they have of their children are very high and sometimes unrealistic. So what do those kids do? They find a way around it. They meander around it. They sometimes lie. They hide things from their parents. Yes, that's another thing. Your children cannot open up to you. How? Like, how now? If anything bad happens to them, they get raped, beaten, get into some kind of trouble that normally they should be able to say, mommy, this thing happened. They will not be able to open up to you. Like, I had to hide a lot of things from my mom. There was a time I wanted to try acting. Of course, am I crazy that I'll go and tell my mom that I want to act? Like, so the first thing that, in fact, I remember my elder sister when I met, oh my God, when I mentioned that I wanted to actually, go the kiss, like, you be kissing people. No. It was the eldest of my sisters that I could confide in, and she kind of understood and was open-minded about it. And she was the only one that I could tell, okay, I'm going for meeting, I'll sneak out of the house, say something else, but she will know exactly why I'm going out and where I'm going to. Those are the kind of things that you get when you are overly strict with your children. Like, they cannot open up to you. They will lie a lot about a lot of things. In fact, bringing up your children in such a restrictive, military type, extremely religious, setup can cause rifts in child-parent relationship, even till that child is grown. Some people that I know, till now, they don't have the best of relationships with their children because of the way they were raised. There was always controversy, problem, quarreling, and all those kind of things. Although I have great relationship with my parents, because as I was growing older and I left the house, some of the things that my parents didn't want me to do, I understood why they didn't want me to do them. Some children that they can never understand why their parents were so extreme when they were growing up. Same thing with parents, that they can never understand that no matter how much they poured into you, you turned out to be totally different from what they expect. So they can never reconcile that in their head. And so everything that their child does, they are really not into it. They are just, there's this relationship gap between the parent and the child. If you are somebody that grew up in that kind of situation and you're watching this video, I want you to understand that your parents did raise you up the way they did because of their own understanding, their religious beliefs, and the way they felt that it will be the best for your future. Might not necessarily be the case. So you coming to understand that will help you build a better relationship with them. Also, parents too need to understand that now that your child is grown, they have a mind of their own, they have a life of their own. You have to try and understand them so that everybody can meet at a common ground. Because some parents, even if you're an adult, they don't want to know, they don't care. They still want you to, be in line with everything that they say, and if you don't. And the funny thing is, I know some adults today, they are married though, they cannot go against their parents. It still comes back to the dual personality that I said. But when their parents are not there, it's like, daddy is not here, who's going to tell daddy? They do all manner of things. So if you have any experience that you want to share with us, please leave it in the comment section. Thank you so much for being a part of this video. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, share. I'll see you in my next video. I love you all. Bye.